What's good, y'all? I'm here to talk about the buffs and changes I've made for Lurantis in my ROM hack. Before I get into explaining the thought process behind all the new move changes, the ability choices, the stat tweaks, I highly recommend you pause the video if you're new here. If you're returning, you can skip ahead like a minute, skip past the intro if you don't want to hear it. But if you are new here, pause the video, read the description. I've got a bullet point list explaining all of the basic background info about the ROM hack that'll help answer a lot of your questions and just give you a better, easier time understanding uh, all the new stuff. And then when you're done with the video, you can check out all the other ones I have on my channel about all the other Pokemon changes, about the ROM hack itself. And then I also recommend you, I really recommend you go to the move guide and look at all the move buffs and changes here on the Google Sheet link down below. Don't do that yet. Do that when you're done with the video, otherwise it'll mess up my watch time. But yeah, super important move changes. Also, I recommend last thing, just make sure you drop a like, drop a comment, sub, all that stuff if you haven't already. It's very helpful for me, so please do that. But yeah, with all that out of the way, Lurantis. So Lurantis, so there's actually not that many pure grass types left in the game in Gen 9 with all the new type changes and stuff. There's not too many, but something that was annoying to balance was specifically Leafeon specifically was kind of obnoxious. I had to decide which of the two to give sharpness, and it fits both of them, but I think it fits Lurantis a tiny bit more because Lurantis does. I mean, obviously, yes, Leafeon fits it, but Lurantis has like the sickle claws specifically. I also just kind of like Lurantis a little bit more, so yeah. Leafeon will have like Grassy Surge and have their own cool stuff though, so don't worry about them. Also, it's an evolution, so I don't know. You got a million other options anyway, and a lot of them are gonna have overlap inherently. But anyway, Lurantis. It's cool. Sharpness is very good. You can use Choice Scarf Sharpness or Bulky Sharpness with tons of moves. All of the moves that are bolded on your screen are Sharpness boosted. Oh, also Solar Blade. Forgot to mark that as boosted. I think that's the one I missed. Yeah, everything else is good. Okay. So you've got Stab, Leaf Blade, 120 power. So I'm going to list a bunch of moves, and those moves are all 50% crit. So what that means is they're essentially never critting unless you hold a Scope Lens, but once you slap on that Scope Lens, you're getting a guaranteed crit. So if you're outspeeding something that's slower than you, or if you're running a bulky set, you can abuse Scope Lens for a 180 base power move. Leaf Blade, X Scissor, Shadow Claw, Laceration, Psycho Cut, Night Slash, Cross Poison, and Cross Chop are all 80% or 80 base power, 50% crit moves. So with sharpness, they're 120 power flat, and then with Scope Lens equipped, they become 180 power with sharpness, and then obviously they're 120 power if you're using like Solar Rush plus Scope Lens. But yeah, which is actually a pretty good combo, honestly, because Solar Rush means that you get your speed, so you can actually hold Scope Lens reliably. But if you're not running Solar Rush in the sun, then you're not that fast, right? I mean, 90 speed is solid on paper, but you have to keep in mind you're not guaranteed a plus speed nature, a lot of the stuff, so you're going to be reliant on Trailblaze or Choice Scarf or Solar Rush to boost your speed, or some other methods of speed control. But Grassy Glide, other priority like Creeping Strike, First Impression, Aerial Ace, Siege Shot, Leaf Flurry, stuff like that. Those are all regular priority moves. And two of them are sharpness boosted, Aerial Ace and Creeping Strike, so that's pretty cool. I would love to get Terra Bug on this guy just for flavor. I think that's so cool. Obviously, they're not actually a bug type because, as you know, or at least maybe you don't know, but as most of you should know, Lurantis isn't actually a bug at all. It's a bug mimic. It's like the mantises that pretend to be flowers, but reversed. It's pretty clever, honestly. Instead of pretending to be a flower to blend in, it pretends to be a bug to blend in, but it's actually like a plant. So it's pretty cool, or a plant organism at least. It is kind of confusing, but it's pretty cool. So they got other sharpness boosted moves outside of those, but those are the major ones. First Impression, Creeping Strike, and Aerial Ace are priority sharpness boosted moves. Fury Swipes is a multi-hit sharpness boosted move, which is good with loaded dice. It's pretty good. You could also use like loaded dice Bullet Seed and other stuff. I don't know why you would ever do that. Oh, I mean, the only reason you would ever do that over Leaf Blade and Night Slash, for example, because you get two boosted moves as opposed to just the one, is because, like, for example, Cross Chop versus Pummel, right? So stuff like that. The benefit of the multi-hit moves is that they break through Focus Sash, so and Energy Shield and Multi-Scale and all these other abilities and items. So that's definitely useful. And again, Trailblaze stuff is great because you can click Trailblaze once, finish something off, and then kind of outspeed things from there. And your item, you don't need a speed item anymore with Trailblaze, so that's good. Razor Leaf is boosted, but that's mostly just for like up until level. Well, so the thing is, Leaf Blade TM is in the mid-30s on average because it's a TM. It's not a level up move purely just for space reasons. I usually avoid overlap with level ups and TMs because there's so many new moves to give every Pokemon now. It just doesn't make any like sense in terms of balancing and like formatting the documents. It doesn't make any sense to have overlap unless there's a really specific need for that Pokemon to get that move earlier than the TM is. But in this case, they'll be fine, So Leaf Blade Sorry, I just had to clear my throat. Leaf Blade is 4 badges, correct? Yeah, 4 badges. So that is on average level 32, between 30 and 36. So you could be waiting as late as 36, but on average it's going to be 30 or 33 for that. And and the average number is 32. So yeah, up until level 30 to 36, you're going to be using Razor Leaf for your strongest sharpness boosted move. Although actually sharpness Razor Leaf is the same power as Seed Bomb, so there's not really any point. But yeah, Leaf Blade's great though. So I chose Solar Rush because the Pokédex does talk about like absorbing sunlight, firing beams from its sickle-shaped petals. Its beams are powerful enough to cleave through metal plates. Especially Fomantis talks about the sunlight and like soaking up sunlight, so that's why I say I have Solar Rush. It was either that on Unburden, but I feel like Unburden can be kind of boring sometimes. I would say, I mean, it's definitely arguably better in some ways than Solar Rush. It's easier to abuse, takes less setup, but Solar Rush has the benefit of, you know, making Solar Blade and Solar Beam and Weather Ball and Growth and other cool synergies there, so I think it's cool. Also, Chloroblast plus Solar Rush is sick because Chloroblast gives you +1 special attack now. Just regardless of sun, but because you have the sun up, you're outspeeding everything. So you can go for Chloroblast, Solar Beam, Weather Ball, you know, other cool moves like that. Alluring Voice. Your special coverage is not the greatest, but you do have enough. You know, you have Bug Bomber, you have Radiant Edge, which is sharpness boosted. So Radiant Edge is essentially like Fairy type special Wicked Blow. It also is kind of like Psy Shock. It comes from Secret Sword, the animation, so it's a special move, but it deals physical damage. Pretty cool. I like it because, again, if you read talking about the Pokedex, right, like the cleaving through my metal plates and firing beams, and it's like pink, right? It's like a pink sun-oriented plant. So I think having that fairy light, it's a light move, right? It's like a blade of light. So I think Radiant Edge is fucking awesome on them. I love that flavor of it. Super cool move on them. And it also makes special sharpness, you know, decent, or at least mixed attacking sharpness. Thing is, you don't even have to use, you don't even have to abuse, what's it called? You don't even have to use the fucking, why am I blanking? You don't have to use any EVs with Radiant Edge. You can just use like max attack, max, you know, whatever, choice scarf, max HP, and then just click Radiant Edge because it's still a 180 power move with sharpness. It's still really strong, so that's really cool. You've also got, you know, Earth Power, you know, decent enough. You got solid options. Bug Bomber is cool, you know, some pseudo bug type moves. Pollen Puff earlier on, Bug Biting, Leech Life, Siphon, Lunge, First Impression, all types of cool bug moves. So the big thing here for endgame, last sharpness option that I haven't covered yet is Sacred Slash. That is better than Cross Chop if you're not holding Scope Lens, but if you're holding Scope Lens, it's worse. But obviously, I mean, for example, Choice Band or Life Orb Sacred Slash is either just as strong, or for example, Choice Band Sacred Slash is stronger than Scope Lens Cross Chop with sharpness. And then Life Orb Sacred Slash is a bit, I think it's slightly weaker, if I remember correctly. So anyway, they're both really strong, but Sacred Slash is 60 power, always crits, so it's 135 power with sharpness. So that's just a good, reliable fighting sharpness boosted move, a little bit later than Cross Chop. And then you have the Contrary Cheese. So with Contrary, you have Superpower, Giga Impact, Hyper Beam, Leaf Storm, and Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant is physical Leaf Storm. Superpower is Superpower and Giga Impact give you +2 attack with Contrary. Contrary is a very brainless, stupid ability. I'm not a fan of it in this ROM hack at all. This is also the reason Superior loses Contrary, because Superior is way faster. At Lurantis, 90 speed is great, and with Choice Scarf, you are outspeeding pretty much the whole game with Neutral Nature, like with a Choice Scarf. I'll show you. Like, you're hitting 402, so you're outspeeding the whole game, so it's already pretty busted, but Superior would be like Omega broken to the point where it's like you don't even have to worry about ever being outsped. And I also just think it's really uninteresting. Superior will have really, really cool changes, so don't get it twisted. I'm going to give them really cool, unique, fun tools to work with. Yeah, Lurantis is the grass Contrary Mon now. And it has, you know, better speed for that. Special attack is lower, of course, but it does have Leaf Storm 10 levels earlier than Frenzy Plant to encourage the use of your special attack stat. Also, just the fact that you have Move Reloader means that mixed attackers are much better because you have full flexibility, right, to switch between your options. You've also got like Strength Sap super early, so you can do like bulky. I mean, it's got a good bulk, right? 70, 90, 90 with investment. It's a very versatile Pokemon. You can use it fully defensively with like Encore, Strength Sap, Leech Seed. Earlier in the game, you have Floor Healing and Synthesis, both of which synergize with each of your abilities on Full Mantis. Solar Rush plus Synthesis, or Floor Healing plus Grassy Guard. If you get Grassy Terrain up, Floor Healing heals you by 2/3, so you can do like Grassy Guard, Floor Healing, Leech Seed, Max HP Fizz Def, and like completely wall physical attacker on the early game, and that's really fun. You can 1v1 them no problem. And you've also got Mega Drain, which is boosted by Grassy Terrain, and Mega Drain heals you by 75% of HP, and it's 60 base power, so it's kind of like a grass type Draining Kiss, so it heals you even more than Giga Drain. So that's really, really fun for stalling with early game Full Mantis, despite its stats looking mediocre. Number one, for early game, those are good stats, to be honest, and then number two, it's just very versatile, right? So you can invest in whatever stat you want to invest in, and it becomes really useful. Contrary is pretty niche early game, but there are a lot of stat dropping moves early game. So I lied, it's not niche, it's actually pretty good early game because there's tons of stat dropping moves, and then Contrary becomes kind of ass for like most of the mid game until you get access to, you know, the stat dropping moves that lower your own stats. But for early game, Contrary is great because again, there are tons of stat dropping moves running around in the AI that they're going to use against you. You know, for example, in this case, you have like Disarming Voice, Petal Blizzard, no Struggle Bug, but yeah, stuff like that always lowers your both attacking sets. So switch in your Full Mantis on that, you get +1 attack instead of -1, so that's cool. Same with special attack. That's pretty much it. I think I covered all the important stuff. Yeah, Solar Rush is great for speed. Obviously, Choice, Scarf, Sharpness, and Contrary is great, but Solar Rush has the benefit of not having to, of being able to switch your moves. So, for example, Scarf Sharpness is great and all, and you can definitely still take advantage of it. You can pivot around, you know, get a kill, switch out, switch your moves. But the advantage of setup with Solar Rush or just the Weather Ball or all these other cool things is definitely worth trying out and running for a couple boss fights at least. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let me leave a comment if you made it to the end. Other things I can touch on briefly. I gave them other special attacks earlier on, like Seed Flare at level 44, which is really strong. That's a recoil grass type move. Special grass type move with recoil now, so that's really good. Chloroblast I already covered, why that's great with Solar Rush specifically. Without Solar Rush, it's pretty niche, but with Solar Rush, it's very good. Sleep Powder is good. That's consistent. Always lasts for 2 turns. If you hold Wide Lens, it won't miss. Ingrain is kind of cool. You could try that out with Contrary. Unironically, is kind of a funny idea. So Contrary Ingrain will give you +3 speed and drop your attack and special attack. Sorry, drop your special attack and special defense by -3, because the normal effect for Ingrain is essentially like it drops your speed, it locks you in, heals you each turn, and then you get +3 Calm Mind boosts basically. So it's really strong, but it's also really risky. I would not ever really bother with that personally. But with White Herb, you can do Contrary and get +3 speed. It's kind of a gimmick, but it could be pretty cool. You could do like White Herb Ingrain plus like Leaf Storm or Frenzy Plant, you know, that could be kind of a cool thing with the booster speed more. I don't know. You can experiment with it. It's definitely a fun option. And of course, just raw Ingrain is pretty good. You could do like White Herb Ingrain under Solar Rush, for example. That could be pretty good. Obviously, Growth is also good in that regard. It's +2 instead of +3, so it's not a huge difference and also less risky. But yeah, I don't know. You can cook with it. Aromatic Mist is an awesome debuffing move. Of course, Charm and stuff is good for earlier on, and just in general, even in the late game, you can slap on Charm if you need to counter something. But Aromatic Mist is really good because it's just better than Charm. It drops attack, special attack, and special defense by -2. So really cool, unique option there. I mean, it's relatively common in Alola because a lot of Pokemon here just happen to be like smell-based, like plant type Pokemon, you know. But it's a cool option nonetheless. Really cool debuffing option with like Strength Sap, Aromatic Mist, Leech Seed, Stall shenanigans. So yeah, this thing can be super stally if you need it to be. It can be super offensive, of course, both physically and specially. And yeah, thanks for listening. Leave a comment down below if you made it to the end, y'all. Last thing I could touch on, Quiver Dance. That's pretty good with, I mean, it's honestly really only good with like Solar Rush. Like basically, it doesn't really benefit any of your abilities outside of like Radiant Edge, I guess. But you could use it for the speed boost and the SPDF boost. I don't know. Mostly there for flavor, honestly. And it's a good move regardless. Even, you know, just even if you're not using your abilities with it, you're still getting like a Quiver Dance boost. So yeah. Although again, setup not super encouraged, might be banned down the line. There's anti-setup stuff put into place, quick call, this crap that you guys already know if you're a returning viewer, and you've definitely listened to my videos already if you made it 14 minutes in. So I do appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, peace.